Welcome to How It Works, a video series from Law Sites and LawNext, in which you get to see hands-on demonstrations of legal tech products directly from their developers. In today's episode, a demonstration of Opus 2, a platform that helps law firms better manage the critical information and workflows surrounding their cases, matters, projects, and engagements. Joining me to tell us about it and show us how it works is Chris Finley, Senior Solutions Consultant at Opus 2. Chris, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Chris, I'm looking forward to diving into this and learning more about Opus 2. But before we do that, can you give us a little bit of an overview of Opus 2 and a preview of what we're going to be seeing today?
Yeah, sure. I always think it's important to set the stage. So thanks for asking me that. So really, Opus 2 has been transforming both litigation and arbitration over the last 2 decades. And we put some focus into helping disputes teams really operate at their best. So our award-winning solution has been built on a flexible, powerful, and also an AI-enabled software platform that our clients can use, not just for disputes, they can also use it outside of that if they choose. It is cloud-based, which caters to all of our law firms, as well as the different personas within a law firm. So you think about paralegals, lit support, associates, partners, they're all going to use this in a slightly different way. And really what Opus 2 is doing is empowering the firms to create intelligent legal solutions to help them be successful in their cases. So we allow them to manage their case strategy, their case management, and case preparation all in one single secure environment.
All right, without further ado, why don't we launch right into the show and tell today?
Yeah,
So go ahead and share your screen.
there we go. What you're seeing on the screen now is really the Opus 2 solution when you log in, right? Various firms, you're going to have access to multiple projects, multiple matters. Really the first item that I would like to cover today out of the 4 kind of key components that we're going to cover is around collecting, organizing, and just leveraging your materials, right? So we have a lot of clients that come to us and they're doing everything in disparate solutions, right? They may have one solution for transcripts, they may have another solution for chronology, their documents may live on a shared drive. Really what Opus 2 does in the simplest of senses is it brings everything together all under one roof. That's what we're looking at here on the document screen. We have a folder structure where you can see you can bring in all of your key materials, hot documents, pleadings, correspondence, transcripts, exhibits. You're able to easily visualize any document within your workspace, which will then lead to collaboration, highlighting, categorization, tagging. All those things can be done within the workspace. But then we also have additional features as far as organization goes. You can build out canvases to allow the AI to look at a group of documents. You can build out collections, which are more traditional attorney binders or paralegal binders. Think trial exhibits, think deposition prep outlines. All of that can happen on this page without disrupting the folder structure. So it's giving the end user various different ways to get to the content that they care about. And since we integrate with e-discovery solutions, we normally find the discovery materials have some sort of tagging or coding that comes with those documents. So all of that is preserved. And if you're interested in maybe viewing documents by their topic, their categories, it's another way to get to the same materials and then quickly get to what you care about. Now, the documents is only one side of that. You're seeing a whole bunch of other components across the top of the screen right now. And that's really where you can now use the documents to really help and shape your story. So we think about things like maybe my chronology or the cast of characters, or I have companies in my case. You can navigate and you can add documents to those different areas, and it just helps reinforce the idea that everything is all living in a single secure environment. We report on all of the work products, so any highlights that are done, you're going to be able to leverage that. And we're going to go into an overview shortly here on the deposition, transcript, review, and designations. But that is a good kind of overview of just the materials that make it into Opus 2, and then the components and how we can start to connect the dots.
Are you integrating with some of those other litigation or discovery platforms in order to get the documents into here? Or
Sure. So I know I mentioned the integration, 2 ways to get it in. You can just simply drag and drop materials from maybe a shared or local drive. We do integrate with the e-discovery products of the world. So you think relativity, and normally those solutions have a save search in those environments. And we point to that save search, and it brings in not just the documents, but all of the coding, the metadata. The user gets to specify all of this. And it's a job that you only have to set up once, and then it'll constantly bring in the materials. It eliminates the whole need to export and import materials into a solution.
Great.
And our next session that I wanted to cover was around deposition kind of review and marking up transcripts. That's really one of the core competencies here at Opus 2. I've been here over 11 years, and we started in this space and then organically grew over time to include all these other components. So I think it's always important to lean on what most teams know us for and highlight how teams are using transcript review, transcript management within our solution. So what we did there was we just opened up a transcript, and now I'm in the full version of the transcript. This is for lawyers, paralegals. They're doing transcript review. They have a very specific purpose. Everybody understands what a transcript looks like, but we have things like the linked exhibits that are accessible, all of the work product on the right-hand side. There's also the ability to view and watch the video at any point in time here on the transcript. That'll also come to serve teams when it comes to video clips that happen automatically within our solution. But really at the end of the day, regardless of kind of the case and what it's about, you're looking for something specific, right? So if I go through a transcript and I find something of interest, I'm going to want to highlight that and decide what I want to do with that highlight. Now, in this exercise, we're focusing on the designation workflow, but just by looking at this dialog, this drop-down box quickly, you can see I can do other things as well, like chronology events or assign task, build out a cast of character. 9 times out of 10 in my experience with law firms, they care about the designated testimony. So that's why I think it's important to highlight this. And you're going to notice you're really just filling out a dialog box. So the range is selected for you. If you need to make any adjustments to that, you can. All of the naming convention and the colors, that can be customized and curated to whatever the case team needs. You're also able to put in any of your own notes. I do think it's worth mentioning, or at least seeing, the video clip that is created automatically. You don't have to do anything else. And this really is important when it comes closer to trial. If you need to make edits or adjustments to that clip, all of that can happen directly in the software without leaving the software or going into another product. Objection management issues, all of that can be tackled within this dialog, and then it's simply saved to the workspace. Now, that last minute or so, I can totally appreciate how that can be a little lengthy for an associate or an attorney that has to go through and do that time and time again. So what I think is useful to mention is you can set your own kind of personal preferences or favorites, right? So if you're going to go through and always do affirmatives, you can come in and make a quick action. And that way, when I come up here on my little toolbar that I have up at the top, all of this now happens without that dialog box popping open. And I know that's a very probably small piece of functionality, but you'd be surprised at how far that goes with anybody that's doing a repetitive task. It doesn't just have to be designations.
I believe that.
Yeah. It could be, like I said, chronology, characters, internal strategy notes that you want to highlight for. So all of this highlighting is now captured and it can be reported on. So I'm able to take a digest of this information. And this is normally where maybe a different persona comes in. Somebody maybe junior has done the first pass, somebody more senior comes in and reviews what has been done. They want to be able to maybe quickly see maybe all of the objections that have been flagged in my workspace. You don't want to have to open every single transcript within your environment. Go ahead and go to our designations tab, and you can quickly navigate to those specific portions of the transcript without leaving the tool. We do cater for exports and things of the, but the more I work with case teams and the efficiencies that can be built, you want to do your best to stay in the solution because everything is tracked and you can put all of your comments here and the collaboration really goes up when you can stay in a single place. But I know that was a fair amount to take in just on highlighting just on the transcript management component within our tool. Any questions about anything you want me to go back to?
No, I'm just curious in terms of the highlighting, the notes, is all of that available and viewable by everybody on the case team?
It is, yeah. So everything is role-based and permission-based. If there are certain, I'll call it buttons or things you don't want certain users to do, normally this comes up with the higher up you go in a firm, maybe like a partner. You don't want them to be able to maybe manage the tags or manage the issues. You just want them to be able to select things. But we really want everybody to have the basic functionality, open documents, highlight documents, select the categories. But we can get there, and we do work with teams for any kind of custom role or specific permissions that they would like to see.
All right, good.
Great. So I think that'll bring us to our next kind of point is AI. Everybody is talking about AI. It's everywhere. The one thing that I find nice, or one of the things that I find nice with Opus 2 is that AI within our solution shows up where it's supposed to show up. So all I did was I navigated back to the transcript that we were just doing designations on. And I'm going to show you how it's purpose built within our solution and a couple areas of how you can leverage it. You're going to see the little assist button throughout our interface. And everything here, like I just mentioned, is purpose built. So things like summaries, which is a given. You have to be able to quickly provide summaries. We give you different iterations of summaries. We're completely transparent where that information is coming from. So we have citations for everything to help build confidence and trust without the solution. It is worth noting when you're looking at the AI from a document perspective, it's just this transcript. So it's not going to the outside world for knowledge. So you can eliminate the hallucinations and all the concerns around that. But we get into some of the nice things it can do around identifying inconsistent testimony, sentiment analysis, lines of inquiry. And you're noticing it can do all of this without you having to type anything in. So you don't have to prompt the tool to do anything. It's going to be able to help you find events, people, places. And this really lends itself to the other components of our tool. Think about the task of building out a chronology can be very manual, but since we can identify the events that exist within a transcript, all somebody has to do is select that event, and now they can add that into their chronology, and it takes the data entry out of it. Now, I know I said you don't have to type things in, but we know every case has its specifics. So there is that query capability here on the document. And once again, whatever query that you type in, it's only going to base its answer here on the document itself. Now, normally when I show that for the first time, or maybe the second time when somebody sees that, one of the questions I get is, it's great that you can do it for a single document, but I want to do it for either everything or a subset of documents. So that is true. You can do that within the solution as well. That's where we talked about the canvases. If you wanted to look at, let's say, a binder of materials, you can do that. And you can go into our workbench and you could see all of the organizations that were extracted or all of the events that were extracted across your transcripts. That's the step 2 of it. If you want to look at your entire case as a whole, and maybe you're more of the senior associate partner persona, you don't really need all these kind of detailed functions of Opus 2. That's where we're able to offer this focus view, which is a very AI forward interface where those people can come in and really look at the entire matter for strategy, topics, and themes. I just want to put in one example so you can see how this version works and how it all really ties together. So in this case, I'm looking across my entire matter and I want to find everything about Alexis Hughes and I want the tool to summarize that for me. So I can go ahead, I can run my query. You get some nice in-app kind of statuses and everything, so you know it's actually working and it's doing something here. So whatever your prompt is, you can punch that in. We also have a prompt builder that will help you out if you need assistance in building your prompts. But what I find this does is it brings that information to light rather quickly. And now it's about what can I do with these results? So if I look at the results and I go through some of the documents, it's great that I have it all here at my fingertips and I can go through it. But how does that help my team? How does that help everybody else that's part of the case? You may want to be able to take those documents and now use those as part of maybe a prep binder on the detailed side of thing. Maybe it's part of a story that you're trying to tell. So that's just a single example of how the AI can be used in one sense, but then also be used to build out the more collaborative effort as a whole within Opus 2. So hopefully it's a good overview of just how AI shows up within Opus 2.
Yeah, that's very helpful. And you anticipated the one question I was going to have, which was your ability to query across multiple documents and sets of documents.
Yeah, there was a time where we had to punt that question a little bit, but now I'm glad that we can actually answer that and have a good one for folks that want to use it.
No punting around.
That takes us to, I've alluded to it before, but really the overall storytelling within Opus 2. So if I go into a case, every case that I've been a part of normally has a narrative or a story that needs to be told. Now that could be a traditional chronology where you have all the events that you care about and you want to be able to visually see those events. That could mean a cast of characters, or that could mean a whole bunch of organizations. If you are managing this in different spreadsheets that don't talk to each other, you wouldn't see the benefits that you have here within our solution. You'll notice that anytime you click on an event, or you click on an individual, or you click on a company, you can see how they interact as a whole with the entire story. So this event interacts with these people, these companies, if there's different issues that you want to add, and all of that can be supplemented on the fly as you work through this. This is more, I would say, your in the weeds paralegals, associates that need to know this kind of front and back. But then there's also the high level overview of maybe you just want to be able to see the certain status of certain events or certain chronology types, or maybe I'm more of the partner that comes in and I want to see this information presented here on a dashboard for the different things that are in my case. So it's just a brief example of how stories can easily be told and connected throughout the entire life cycle of the case, be it people, be it places, or the traditional fact management. And on the deeper dive, we'll take more of a look at the issues. But I know that was a little bit more abbreviated as compared to the other sections, but hopefully that just paints a good picture of how easy it is to connect the dots within our solution.
Yeah, that gives us a good sample of it. And telling the story is the secret to success in litigation. So that's really useful.
Great.
Chris, anything else that you wanted people to know before we wrap up?
No, I just want to thank everybody for the time. Hopefully you found is an intuitive interface. There's a lot of capabilities here, but we're meant to be used differently for different audiences. Always happy to have those conversations with folks that are eager to learn about our solution and how we can help. So I appreciate your time.
Appreciate yours. It looks great. And that's it for this episode of How It Works. I'm Bob Ambrogi. You can find the full series on YouTube. Just search for How It Works there. Also at directory.lawnext.com. Thanks for watching.